Many of us are looking for peace, prosperity, and freedom. And for that, about 250 million migrated by June 2019, sacrificing time, family, and home. More than 25 million of them were forced displacement. And some of them risked their lives, and some of them didn't make it. Those who made it brought in eagerness, manpower, diversity. The Department of Business, Innovation and Skills researched into the impact of immigrants on UK businesses. It found that the new first-generation immigrant brought in knowledge, a new way to solve problems, and a global outlook. This is manpower diversity. And this led to the expansion of many businesses. Some of those who made it were Einstein, Freud, Tesla, Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim, the founders of YouTube. Nevertheless, almost every immigrant will arrive to the new land hardly knowing anybody. They will struggle with racism, prejudice, the social norms, face a cultural shock, struggle to fit, adapt, and settle, to take the new place as a home, especially if they felt unwanted. This is the story of almost every immigrant. Hello, my name is Richard MacLeod, and I'm a first-generation immigrant. My story started about 4 decades ago. In 1975, war broke in home, Lebanon, pushing hundreds of thousands of Lebanese away from home, including my father. With a bit of struggle, he managed to find a contract in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was going through its black gold era. It was rural and still developing in many ways. But to that, it was perfect because it was close. Close in many ways, including that it was Arabic and also Islamic. That meant to that we wouldn't grow far from home. Like many other immigrants, my family saw the friendship of other Lebanese families. And together they formed the Lebanese community. This allowed them to experience some familiar social norms and help with their integration in the new land. Me, as a child, with my sisters and brothers, we didn't need any of this. We went to the playground, met the kids, played with them, formed a friendship, regardless of their creed, nationality, color, race. We quickly adapted to the new social norms, and we quickly mastered the local accent. 11 years later, in 1986, we moved back to Lebanon, and in my own homeland, and for the first time, I had my culture shock. It was ironic, but with the support of my family, it only took me 5 years to settle and adapt in my own homeland. In 1998, I graduated as an architect, and soon after that, I got my business and got married. In 2001, I had to leave Lebanon. I had to fly from Lebanon in fear for my life, sacrificing family, business, and home for safety. And I ended up in the UK. It was hard at this time for me. It was really, really hard. For the UK was in many ways my exile. But again, I struggled with the culture shock, with employment, education, and social norms, to fit and adapt and settle, I struggled to take the new place as a home, mainly because I really felt unwanted. Those struggles and emotions, the rejection, made me develop feelings of diaspora and nostalgia. And finding a home became an obsession. Michael Allen Fox talks about home. He talks about the importance of home. It's the place where is or was, where we felt safe, where we developed, where we grew up naturally, where we felt love for the first time. And we, as adults, we long sometimes to go back to that place, to mend our wounds, and to enjoy the nostalgia of those old days. And even if the people who were living in that place are not there anymore, it's the walls that enduring and holding the memories. But if the walls is gone, it's actually worse to us. In Newcastle, I volunteered with the Islamic Diversity Center, Northeast, providing hot meals to homeless. It was intriguing to see that the homeless person, they would say that we don't feel we exist. We don't have a place of our own. We don't have an address. Can you imagine if you don't have an address, a postcode, a house, you don't exist? You don't have a place of privacy, you don't have a privacy, and you don't have a place to simply be. Michael Allen Fox, again, talks about how this is a crucial point for a homeless and for a refugee. And missing it can instigate identity crisis. But what is home? Can we make one? What makes a home? Is it a place? Is it a community of one nationality? Is it family? Is it a job? Is it success? What makes a home home? And if exile becomes home, what becomes of home? This question haunted many people, including George Alagaya, who wrote A Home from Home, an immigrant boy to Englishman. Also Eva Hoffman, who wrote Lost in Translation. They were both first-generation immigrant. And they were both trying to understand this and settle in the new place. What worked for them, both of them, was going back to their homeland and closing the circle. That doesn't work for some refugees due to political reasons or even sometimes natural disasters. Not everybody is able to go back home and close the circle. 11 years later, still obsessed with trying to find a home and forge a link with the UK. I started my MA with the University of Sunderland, and I themed my MA around it. I wanted to understand what home, how can I make a home? I studied culture, faith, and identity, and I looked closer to see the relationship between them and architecture, fashion, and art. I wanted to see if I, as an architect and an artist, I can create my own home. For failing to make a link with the place can lead to radicalization. It is a serious issue. What I found in my research, that we start developing our identity at a very early stage of our lives. But there's many elements and factors contributing to that, including the place we start our life in, the education we received in that place, the friendship we make in that place, the social norms of that place, even the taste palette and the aroma of that place. They will all together become home. And we'll carry this with us for the rest of our lives. And one interesting book I came across in my research was Arab Detroit. It talks about the Arabic community in Arab Detroit it was made from different nationalities, and it was looking into, did they manage to join the mainstream and culture, or were they living as a community within a community, but separated? I found it interesting because it talks about many Arab nationalities, including Lebanese. But what was interesting, when they talked about their own accounts of how the struggle and settling eventually, and how they refer to themselves as transitional generation. That was a eureka moment for me. You see, transitional, by definition, means that you left one place and you're going to another. It's a period of time. It's a stage of your life. It's never meant for you to settle. It's meant that it will finish once you reach your destination. This made me understand why we, as a transitional generation, we can't settle. Let me make the closer for you. Have you ever moved a house? Your life had to stop, pack everything in boxes, your clothes, your furniture, your gadgets, everything. Put them in boxes, move to another house, and little by little, unbox your stuff to make your new house a home. Until then, until you unbox everything, you're living out of your boxes, you're feeling unsettled. This is how it feels for an immigrant in a new land. Continuing with the same analogy, if Mr. Muhammad moved into a house and Mrs. Smith moved into the next door house and they're both identical on the same estate, how can we differentiate the two houses? They will both buy furniture, white goods, and other items to provide the same functionality. But it's the design, it's the style, it's the colors, it's the artwork on the wall that will distinguish both houses. We, as first-generation immigrant, we have responsibility to settle and take the new place as a home, but also the hosting society, and we can do that with customization. And for that, under the supervision of Dr. Maniling and Mustafa Amari, I've designed the first Arabic-British mosque in the Northeast. I also designed the first Arabic-British script in history. For the first time, we have one script that is bilingual. This is the first time that you can use one script to write Arabic and English. And it's okay to be dual nationality. It's been merging throughout history, and it's still happening. We have the Italian-American, Irish-Canadian, Pakistani-British. It's happening every day. It's okay. And we can settle with a bit of customization. And when Exile becomes a home, it will be our second home. For our homeland will always be home. Thank you.